Hey everybody, Greg here again. Today I want to talk to you about one of the most common questions we get from clients in our meetings with them. And that is, should I reduce my risk in my portfolio as I near retirement? All right. I got tough news for everybody. There's not one solution for that question. And there's a couple things that I want to go over today to give you an idea of factors that you want to consider, and then also some approaches on how you can handle them. All right, so let's talk about some of those factors that we need to consider first. The first one is really, what kind of a person are you? How close of attention are you paying? Are you one that watches the news or reads an article on Facebook and freaks out and really gets overreactionary, if you will, because you're concerned of what other people are doing? Or are you one that's able to just kind of sit back and let your portfolio do what it needs to do? So you really need to think about that and determining whether you should be shifting risk or not. And the more that you're uncomfortable, the more that you can't sleep at night, absolutely. Pull some of that risk back and take a little less risky approach in your portfolio. Another one that you're going to want to consider as far as factors is how much are you going to work in retirement? Are you planning on continuing to generate some income based off of your salary or your efforts? Or are you going to live solely off of the portfolio that you've built to this point? If you're going to work, you might be able to make a little income and not have to shift the risk in your portfolio nearly as much as one that I'm not working at all and I'm going to count on these dollars to provide for all of my needs as I go forward. Another big factor is, how big is your overall portfolio? If I've got a portfolio big enough or large enough that I can generate all the income I need just based off of dividends or interest payments and never touch principal, shouldn't have to change or shift the risk much. But if I've got a portfolio that is too small, and more than likely I'm going to run out of income in retirement or my money in retirement, you might need to consider increasing the risk to try to make that money last a little longer for you. So there's a couple different factors there. Another big one that we talk about is, how long do you plan on living? In fact, most people today, if you're retiring at 65, you can count on 20 to 30 years of retirement expenses that your money has to cover for. So those are all factors that you're going to want to take into an account. Okay, so let's now talk a little bit about some approaches on how to answer this question. So the first one, and you've heard us talk about this before, but it's the old bucket strategy. And it's making sure that your money's allocated to the proper bucket. And the three different buckets that we talk about all the time are as follows. Number one is our now money. These are dollars that you're going to spend in the next couple of years, and you're not going to take any risk with these dollars. So it might be a savings account, it might be a money market. It's going to be very easily accessible, and there's going to be no risk on it. And the reason we do that is that way, if the market does go down and you are one that overreacts to it or gets really anxious when the market's going backwards, you don't have to worry about it. It allows you to know that I've got money for the next couple of years in a completely safe spot, and it takes away some of that concern, gives you more of that peace of mind. Then you move into the second bucket, and that's our later bucket. These are dollars that really have one purpose, and that's to replenish the now bucket as you spend those dollars down. So you're going to want to go take these dollars and take a little more risk than what you would get out of a savings account or a money market account. And maybe you're going to go invest in a bond portfolio or a high dividend paying stock portfolio. Maybe it's an annuity of some sort that's really going to help drive money over to the now bucket as you're needing to spend it. And then the final bucket, this is potentially the never bucket, or the really, really later down the road bucket. These are the dollars that you can afford to take some risk on. So you shouldn't take risk off of the money that you're probably never going to spend or get to, because you just as well allow it to work just like it's always worked, and continuing to earn interest rates of 6, 8, 10%. Yeah, it's going to come with a little volatility, but it gives you the ability to grow your overall nest egg. And if you don't spend them, pass a bigger nest egg onto those kids and grandkids' years. So number one approach that we talk about all the time with clients is that bucket of strategy. Another strategy, and certainly not a foolproof strategy by any means, but it's the old 110 minus your age strategy. And this has been around for a long, long time. And the simple rule of thumb is you take 110 and you subtract off your current age. So if you're a 60-year-old getting ready to retire and you want to know how much money you should have invested in risky assets or stock portfolios, you just take 110 minus your age. So 110 minus 60 is going to equate to 50% of your portfolio should be invested in stocks. 50% should be invested in bonds and cash type instruments. If I'm 70 years old, I take 110 minus 70, tells me I should have 40% of my portfolio invested in stocks. If I'm 30 years old, that means I should have 80%, so forth and so on. So like I said, not a foolproof approach, but certainly a way to help guide you through some of this question. And the final thing that I'm going to talk about is securing guaranteed lifetime income inside of your pool of assets. So when we sit down with clients, we'll a lot of times go through and say, what are your fixed expenses? What do we have to pay all the bills that are never going to go away? So things like property taxes, healthcare, food, so forth and so on. We've all got them, and you're never going to outlive those or get those paid off. So if we could take a quarter or 30% of your overall pool of assets and go build a lifetime guaranteed income stream, we take some of that worry off. And now that allows us to take the rest of the portfolio and go invest it a little bit more aggressively. So at the end of the day, there's a couple different approaches. You just need to work with your advisor, come up with the easiest thing for you to understand that allows you to sleep well at night and give you that clarity and confidence you need as you go into your retirement years. So that's a little bit of our topic today. Hope it was helpful. Make sure to stop back and check out other videos, and we'll be seeing you around soon. Make it a great day. You don't have to worry about the day-to-day market movements. And this is an interesting scenario.